Hello, and welcome to the Natural Healers Network TV program. I'm Raylene S. Weaver, host of today's show. The Natural Healers Network is a diverse group of South Bay professionals who support each other's businesses in promoting health, be that physical, mental, or spiritual, or all of the above. Today we have two special guests with us, and they'll be telling us about what they do in the world of health and well-being. So to start off, I'd like to introduce Lisa Smith. She is a shaman practitioner, and we'll be finding out more about what she does. So welcome to the show, Lisa. Great to have you here.
Thank you, Raylene. It's been great talking with you and getting to know you through this process.
Good. All right. So let's just start off by having you tell us a little bit about what a shaman is, or what a shaman does.
Okay, so a shaman is somebody who mediates between both worlds. It's somebody who connects with the spirit world, the natural world, and the upper world. So it's somebody who goes in and can actually journey and connect with the different worlds and connect with spirits and connect with whoever is the client, connect with their highest purpose. So I'm somebody who can, when you sit down with me, I open up what's called sacred space. And that's calling on the four directions, which is, north, south, east, and west, and the different animals and the heavens and the earth. And I use that process to open up the space for my clients, and then they would come in and I would do whatever is called to do in their session. So I would help them reach their highest potential by connecting them to their source.
That sounds really empowering, helping people to be their utmost and to be at their most positive energy in their life.
It's pretty incredible.
That's amazing.
It's pretty incredible.
So how did you fall into this line of work?
So I was not expecting to be a shaman or to even work in a realm like this. I've been a corporate event planner for many years. And my husband, who is a therapist, who I believe you'll be interviewing soon, he said that he wanted to go see Alberto Villoldo, who's a shaman who worked at the University of San Francisco for a very long time studying the brain, and realized that there's something outside of that. So he went to the Amazon and really learned from the shamans and the Inca traditions. And he was hosting this big event in Colorado. So Steve kept asking me if I would go with him. And finally I decided to go. And what happened to me there was I listened to Alberto speak about our perception and our connection and all these different tools and these different guidelines about how to be in the world. And everything resonated with my body and soul so much that it felt like a firecracker went off in my mouth, out through my body, and I completely awoke to a whole new reality for myself. And it was startling, and it was shocking, seriously profound. But then I went back to my life, my normal event planner, type A personality life, and every night I would have dreams about doing the work. And I would see myself doing the work in the way I was actually taught, and I'd see this in my dreams. And finally, after 4 months of this, I had tried to shut it down. My husband said, "Why don't you go learn the process?" And I was the one in the back of the room doing this, right. But I've been struck to do this work, so that's what I've been doing.
It's very powerful. It sounds like we see programs on TV about mediums and people that have kind of that sixth sense or that extra sense. And I think there's so much out there that people don't even realize as far as tapping into energy or tapping into their own source, of healing or their own purpose. So that's incredible that you experience that.
I have to tell you, and that's what happens every time I do a session with somebody. They come in and I don't know what I'm going to do with them. Ideally they come to me to move blocks or whatever. But what happens is once I open up the sacred space for them, I'm able to tap into their energy and what's going on with them and actually help them move the energy from their body. So we've got talk therapy, for example. We've got this therapy, and we've got physical therapy. We've got all these therapies. Right. And what I do as a shaman is I work with the person to identify where they're holding the energy in their body. And I help them to move that by doing the trained things that I've been trained to do, like using my rattle or using the drum and actually pulling the energy out of their body. So an example would be if you're looking at a computer screen, you know, and you see all the icons.
Right.
What happens in our lives is if you click on an icon, a whole bunch of programs open up. So if you look at our energy body as like a blueprint, and when you get triggered by one thing in your body, it's like opening it up a giant icon that has a bunch of things that relate to that. And what happens is we react in certain ways.
Right.
So as a shaman, my job is to work with your energy body, work with your energy, whatever's meant to happen in the moment, because it's not all going to happen at once. I work with the energy to pull some of that out, to pull an icon out so that you're no longer triggered in the same way. So your blueprint actually changes when you're doing a session, and you hold things in a totally different way. Sometimes it works for 2 weeks, sometimes it works for ever. It depends on how you're willing to work with the process afterwards.
Right, right. So how can you help someone then?
So if someone comes to me, what we'll do is we'll sit down and we'll actually, like, honestly, what happens is I open up a sacred space and we get together and we connect on that level, and I can see what's going on with them, but then they can tell me. Some people will come in and they'll say, Lisa, I want to know, I don't want to tell you anything. I just want you to do it. I'm like, okay. So feel it in your body where you're holding this energy, and I'll have them blow the energy into a rock, and we'll work with that rock on their energy body and pull out the energy that's no longer serving them. And then what we'll do, this is just a cleansing, this is called an illumination. What we'll do is we'll feed back in the light and the love back after we remove the dark stuff, and then they feel more balanced and more whole and more complete. But some people will come in with their problems and they'll talk their problems, but I think sometimes that gets to be too much, because you can talk, but if you're not really willing to move it energetically, you're not going to move it. So I prefer if people came in and just said, you know, I want to talk a little bit, but then let's just move it. Let's just work with it.
So it helps them get unstuck in certain areas?
It helps them get unstuck.
Okay, so they've been trying to do something.
Forever.
Yeah, right. And they're like, okay, what's wrong? What's going on?
Right.
And this helps them shift that energy.
You shift it and you move it and you hold things in a different way. And then there are tools. I mean, whatever happens in a session. So sometimes I'll feel something that they have to do in order to hold the space for them to actually heal as a process. So like, for example, like if they haven't finished their full healing process within a session, I'll have them blow it into a stick and burn the stick and work with that energy so that the energy is actually burning and being held by the universe, so that they no longer have to use it anymore, so that we can move it.
And then they're able to continue to process this and to create a new, more positive way.
A more positive way, a more way of holding their energy body, more contained, strengthening. So that's pretty awesome.
Yeah. What makes shamanic work different than other types of energy healing?
So there's tons of different modalities, and I've heard that Reiki is, you know, you're bringing in the love and the light and all that, but I don't think you're really clearing out the old stuff. So the shamanic stuff is about 20,000 years old. So you are working with old medicine. It's old medicine that's been around forever. So you're actually working with the indigenous people's medicine, and it's been brought to the Western medicine. And so the difference is it's old, it's very grounded, and it's very earth-based. So you're working with the earth while you're doing this. Does that make sense?
Right.
So, for example, I'm working with the rocks. We're working with the trees. We're working with getting grounded. And I do meditations and breathing exercises to help people ground themselves and get themselves connected to the earth. And I think that's really important.
Okay. So what would someone expect when they come into a session then?
So some people are very different. Everybody's different, obviously. So some people come in just specifically for a soul retrieval. And what that is where I journey for them and find their lost pieces of their soul. So here's an example. Someone would come in who's had a tragic incident in their life, but I don't know anything about this right when they come in. I have no idea. but they've had something happen when they were like 7, for example. I will journey for them to the other realms to find the missing soul piece. So what happens is when we have a traumatic incident, part of our soul kind of goes off and we can no longer deal, right?
Right.
So my job as a shaman is to go find that soul piece and to help them bring that back into their body. Now the client's job is to listen to that piece and to work with that piece once it's been brought back so that they can keep it and become more whole. And I think that's very important to healing.
So then would the person see you for several times, or is it basically the initial session and then maybe a little, conversation back and forth, or how does...
It depends on the person.
Okay.
It depends on what they've been through. I don't recommend that you come back a week later. It's not important for them to come back a week later. I think they need time to process what's happened. And then when they feel like it's time for them to come back, they'll come back. When I feel it's time for them to come back, they'll come back.
Okay.
But I don't push that. That's not important for me for them to come back every week, because that's not the process.
Okay.
This is very energetic, and so they come back when they feel that they need to come back for a different part or for a different piece, or they want to work on their destiny and what they're doing.
So do you have certain tools that help people in their lives?
I have lots of tools that help people in their lives. So, and this has a little to do with shamanism, but it's all about perception, right? We all perceive things a certain way.
Right.
So one of my tools that I would give everybody knows this. I mean, most people know this, but you want to meditate, of course. If you can, do it between 10 and 20 minutes, maybe an hour, if you can. And then my tools are, I sit and I write down in my gratitude journal what I'm grateful for. And I try to get myself in alignment with spirit and open up sacred space. And if people don't know how to do that, we can help them do that. But I give them tools to help move them through their lives so that they can do this. Even though we're in the Silicon Valley, we have certain tools that we can use if we use it on a daily basis. So
good, great. Okay, so that gives them something that they can work on. They feel confident about. It kind of becomes a part of their daily practice,
right,
or something that they do in their life that they incorporate, and they keep doing that.
Exactly.
Okay.
And so what happens usually during a session is I'll get told the tools that the person needs.
Okay.
I mean, not told, but I'll get a hit on what they need.
Right.
So we'd work in a session and I'd help them get what they need.
Excellent. How would someone book a session with you?
They can just call me. They can call me, they can look at my website and book a session through my website.
Okay. And how long is a typical session?
About an hour.
Wow. That's
about
amazing.
an hour.
Okay.
Yeah, I'm very efficient.
And and so you have a website?
I do. It's ShamaMamma.com. It's ShamaMamma.com.
That's so cool. ShamaMamma.com.
ShamaMamma.com.
And what do clients say?
Well, I also do what's called a despacha ceremony, which is changing people's lives through creating a ceremony in which we're doing honorings and offerings to the earth with our prayer bundle and things like that. A lot of people have said that shifted their lives completely and in the most amazing way. And then another person, I've done a cleansing on her home, and she actually got pregnant after trying for 7 years to get pregnant.
That's fantastic.
So things happen, things shift.
Yes.
Whether you attribute it to the shaman work or not, it shifts and it changes, and it's amazing.
Excellent. That concludes this part of the show. I want to thank you so much
Thank
for
you.
being with us. I mean, you've gotten me, I'm excited about it, so it's very wonderful.
I'm very excited.
Good work that you do.
Thanks.
So anyway, that concludes this part of the show. Please stay with us, folks, and we'll be right back.